Hello, and welcome to this segment of Round Robin. I'm Robin McCormick, the spokeswoman for the City of Hampton, and today I'll be talking with two guests to talk about the Unity Commission in the city. And we have with us John Johnson, who is the staff member for that commission, and Steve Brown, who honestly, the first few times I met Steve, thought he was a city employee. But it turns out he has a real full-time job working at Riverside and also has a ministry. And the work he does for the city on several boards and commissions and speaking at council is really just volunteer work. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming today. John, I'm going to start with you. If you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and your involvement with the city and the commission.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Robin, to do the round robin. This is fun. We appreciate this opportunity to share a little bit with folks what Steve and I would probably agree is probably one of the best kept secrets of Hampton. And that's the fact that we have a Citizens Unity Commission in Hampton and have since 1997. It was created by Hampton City Council in 97. Personally, myself, I was not born in Hampton. I'm one of the folks that are generally referred to as a come here. I came to Hampton in 1978. Originally, I was born and raised in Dover, Delaware, 4 hours northeast of here. Mm-hmm. But I like to say I got to Hampton as quick as I could. And I'm one of those folks who chose to live in Hampton. I could have lived anywhere in the Hampton Roads area at the time. And I chose to live in Hampton because I thought Hampton was different than the other cities I'd lived in. And my decision turned out to be right.
Great. And Steve?
Yes, thank you, Robin. I am born here and raised here in Hampton. I've been here all my life. My family was raised in Phoebus, and I'm 10 out of 11 children. So Hampton has been my home. I've been a lot of places, but this is where I chose to live, I choose to live, and choose to give back to my community. Of course, I do have a full-time job. You mentioned earlier. I'm the bereavement coordinator for Riverside Health Systems. And I serve on various boards and commissions, and one that I'm very proud to serve on is the CUC, Citizens Unity Commission. I have since it became a group called Study Circles. We began to talk about race and race relations and getting people to have the conversation, and did it evolve to the CUC, which it is today. So I'm certainly a proud member of that. That's one of my life's goals, is to make a difference in our community. And I think the CUC does that in every facet of this community.
Well, I'm going to ask a little bit more about that. Now, before I came to the city, wasn't terribly familiar with it. And I know when we did the budget polling last year, the citizens of Hampton identified the CUC, or the Citizens Unity Commission, I'm going to try not to use acronyms, but identified that as more of a want than a need. But it came about, it was sort of a need in the beginning. Obviously, City Council and the city staff decided it was a very important thing. Can you tell me a little bit about how it started?
Well, actually, and like you're saying, it was created in 97, but actually its history goes back to about 94, 95. And at that time, Hampton was responding to some incidents that kind of stressed our community around race relations. So that was very much the focus, 94, 95 timeframe. And so the city took a proactive stance and created a citizens-based group that was charged with holding public forums and meetings and trying to get the pulse of the community about what can we do about this thing, because we didn't kind of really like the direction we were going. We knew we could do better. And so that group, over the course of 2 years, helped numerous meetings. You know how we like to meet in Hampton. Mm-hmm. And so we had all kinds of meetings, and basically they came back and recommended the city council to create a permanent office within the city structure that dealt with, again, the focus at that time was race relations. Race relations still very much at the core of what we do, but it has kind of expanded into healthy, diverse community, which includes healthy race relations. So it grew out of some incidents, but the council took a proactive stance, and so the council at the time said, this is a priority. Every council since then has said, this still remains a priority for our city. Now, the citizens probably don't hear that much about it. That's why we're glad to be here today to help educate our citizens and to give them some invitations about how they can engage with us and be part of what we're doing in the community.
And Steve, how and why did you get involved initially with the Citizens Unity Commission?
As a little child, when I say child, maybe 8, 9 years old, I kind of determined then that I wanted to do something for my city. Community service has always been a part of my life, and I was always the smallest kid in the class, the smallest, little boy in the community, but had the biggest heart. And I didn't grow up in an era, Robin, where I faced challenges with race. And even though challenges were around me, but I just viewed people as people. I viewed them based on their experience with me and my experience with them and the relationship that I had with them. So I didn't develop this attitude to be what you call prejudice against people, discriminate against certain people. I didn't do that. We were all a community. Mm-hmm. And this was just a perfect fit for me as an adult, because I had done some work previously before CUC with my church, with some overseas missions, with some of the community kinds of activities that we did. And John didn't tell you, but when we moved from CUC to making this a part of the city's community plan, this is one of the initiatives that the citizens wanted: a healthy, diverse community. Mm-hmm. And that's why council members and councils preceding this one have always made this CUC, Citizens Unity Commission, one of their initiatives. It is nationally recognized. I think there are 2 in this country, ours being one, and there's another one, I can't remember where it is.
Long Beach, California.
Yeah. And so to look at such a small office and the work that it does in the community in bringing neighbors and neighborhoods together, we looked at diversity in every system of the city, every organization, every community. It started off with little small groups like you and John and I talking about race, talking about our experience, not having judgments, just talking about our experience. And it evolved into what it is today. So it's a natural fit for me.
So what is it today? Let me ask what evidence or what actions people in the city would see that come from the Unity Commission?
Well, I can tell you for one thing, increasingly over the past several years, the city of Hampton every 2 years takes a citizen satisfaction survey. And we have a question in there. Are you satisfied with the efforts towards diversity appreciation in the city of Hampton? And each year we have progressively ticked up until we're at in 2010, the results on that survey, I believe, I'm going from memory, I think was 85.6% of our citizens surveyed said they are very satisfied with the efforts that the city's made. Now, I'm not satisfied with 85.6, and I doubt that Steve is. That's why we continue to do what we do. We won't be satisfied till we get, 150, 200%, something like that. So there's still work to be done, but as Steve alluded to, our 2 key focuses are education, and I'll talk about a couple of programs in a few minutes, and celebrations, and bringing people together so they can interact, they can talk, they can discover. When Steve and I first met, if you haven't noticed, Steve and I, we have some things in common, but we got some differences too. The things we have in common might be height. Okay. Steve's a little bit younger than I am. You might notice Steve is follically challenged, and but we've learned that our differences are just that. They're different. One's not better, one's not worse. They're better, and we think together we're better. So the more we learn about each other, and when you experience whoever the other is, some of the fear and distrust seems to melt away the more you engage, and that's what we found.
Well, I'd like to follow up on that, because I also hear from people in the community who say, Why do we keep talking about race and race issues? Talking about it just stirs up old pain and old history. How would you, Steve, react to that?
I would respond to that the way I do in my support groups with people who have major loss and grief issues. I say you must continue to tell your story. The more you tell your story, the more you tell your experience, the more people can either identify with that or get the healing and be able to process their grief. It's the same with race issues in Hampton. The more we talk about it, the more we tell our story from our experience and get people to see that we are different, but diversity is our strength and not a challenge here, I think the better it'll be. That's why the story must be told, must continue to be told until we all come into, we call one unity, is understanding, Robin, that you're different, I'm different. You have gifts, I have gifts, I have a different experience, you've got a different story. We learn from each other. We have to continue to tell it.
So there's really two pieces to it. One is the person has to be able to tell it and let those feelings out,
Yes.
both for self-expression and for understanding. And the other piece is it helps when someone hears it and then they learn also. And those two things work together.
And part of my job as the executive director is to facilitate a lot of these experiences. And as a trained facilitator, it's incumbent upon myself to create that environment that is safe for folks to talk about topics that aren't easy for folks to talk about. Although I have to say, we've been doing this for quite a while. Hampton is so far down the road to becoming a healthy, diverse community. When you look around even our neighboring city, nationally, we've won numerous first place national awards. We won so many first place national awards from the National League of Cities. We had the most of any city in the entire United States, including Los Angeles and New York. We won so many that they actually told us not to submit any more applications for awards for a few years. Now they're recognizing something that we're doing that other cities are not doing.
Mm-hmm. And Hampton statistically is very diverse. And one of the things that came out of the most recent census is not just is it diverse in terms of black and white and other ethnic groups, but those neighborhoods are mixed, that we are one of the least segregated communities in Hampton Roads and really even in Virginia.
Absolutely.
And that's a strength, because when you start looking at various companies coming to do business here, people moving here who work in those companies, they are more attracted to a diverse community. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I say diversity is our strength and not always a challenge. The challenge is how do we get people on the same page to respect each other and to not make stereotypical statements or pass judgments on people, to look at people for who they are, their character, integrity, even their cultural differences, their race differences. Mm-hmm. That's the challenge. So it's very attractive for a major employer to look at our community. And by the way, Hampton Roads is the most diverse community in the country. So we attract a lot of big businesses because of our diversity and how we work together as a community.
And now one of the initiatives you want to talk about today is the Diversity College, which is part of your education piece. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, actually, Steve is a graduate. We were just trying to figure out how many years ago it was. This is a very unique program. We know of no other program in the entire country that is operated out of city government that offers diversity education with the experience that we do. And this is our 9th year of offering the Hampton Diversity College. Want to tell folks they have an opportunity. It is free. Did I say free?
Great.
Free and open to the public. And we are registering folks right now for a course that will begin in March. And we have been doing this, and over 1,000 citizens have participated since we started this program in 2004. It's an opportunity to do just what we're doing here. Come together, create a safe environment for folks to share a little bit about who they are. I learned from Steve. Steve learns from me. Hopefully we learn about most importantly, we learn about ourselves. It never seems to fail. After every one of these classes, people come up and they give me hugs and they got tears on it. I never had an opportunity to do this before.
Right, and diversity in this setting isn't just race. It is also religion, age, gender, handicap. I mean, all kinds of different cultural backgrounds or different experiences that people have.
We cover the full spectrum of diversity, and so we talk about and engage every aspect of diversity that exists in our community.
So how do people sign up for this?
They can go to our website, www.hampton.gov/unity, and click on Hampton Diversity College and go right there, and you can fill out an application, sign up for the course online, and we'll see you in March.
All right, and you're taking those applications through early March, through the end of February?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing you wanted to mention was the Unity Awards, because you're looking for nominations on those.
We are looking for folks kind of like Steve, and if Steve wasn't one of our commissioners, we would probably be nominating him for the work that he does with Riverside. We are looking for nominations from citizens, and anybody can nominate an individual, an organization, a school, faith community, initiative, somebody who has done something positive around diversity issues that's impacted Hampton. So it could be a faith community, could be just an individual who has done something outstanding. We want to recognize them, and so in May we will have a ceremony and we'll recognize the folks that have been nominated and chosen to receive the award. This is our signature CUC event each year.
Okay. And Steve, you are so involved in this on a strictly volunteer level. That's a lot of time. How do you do that?
It is a lot of time, but I think I'm committed to it, and diversity is hard work, but it's rewarding. So even though I'm involved in a lot of various things in our community, I take time to attend the meetings. I participate in the meetings, and I feel as long as I have a good supportive family, which I do, and who allows me to do what I do, I'll continue to do it. And we're always looking for citizens who have the time, have the commitment, and you've often heard, if you want to get something done, find busy people. Right. I'm one of the busy people who think I'm making an impact. So as long as I can do it, I'll continue to do it.
You do. And the other thing I notice about you is that you are not necessarily always on the same side. I mean, some of the times you are speaking out and challenging many of the things the city is doing. You are not in this to help explain Hampton. You're in this to sometimes change things, sometimes do things in the way we're going, but you really do speak out and get involved and have a true voice in what's going on in your city.
Thank you.
It's impressive to see people do that.
I can testify to that too. Steve and I don't always, believe it or not, we don't always agree on everything. And that's an important part, because Steve and I can take we have different perspectives, we have different histories, we have sometimes different values, although I think we share a core group of values. But we might see things a little bit differently. That's fine. The whole idea of diversity is not that everybody agrees. In fact, we're not supposed to. Okay, so forget that. Just come together and just be ourselves, and we'll learn from each other, and hopefully we'll learn to respect each other and work together. Steve and I have had some, we've gone at it a few times, but always respectfully. And at the end of the day, we walk away and say, okay, that's good. That's good, and it helps.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Steve and John, for stopping by today and sharing that story. And I hope some people will choose to sign up for the Diversity College. It sounds like a great experience.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching Round Robin today.